Battlefield 6 just got even better. They dropped a brand new PC trailer which was packed with Easter eggs about new content coming to the game, and DICE and the other teams included even more information about Battlefield 6 when it comes to the full launch, as well as some news about them testing out the server browser in Battlefield Labs testing. So yeah, if you guys are just like me and you're missing Battlefield 6 and you want to learn more about the new stuff coming to the game, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into it. Okay, so right off the bat in this brand new Battlefield 6 official PC trailer, in one of the first frames, you might notice something kind of strange. It's like a half human, half pieces of wood. This is most likely some kind of new recon gadget where you can deploy a sniper decoy. Now, honestly, I can't remember if we've had something like this in previous Battlefield games, but this one looks like it's going to be pretty convincing, and it could be a pretty useful gadget. Now, I'm pretty sure as we go throughout this trailer, I think they're showing some scenes from a map that we haven't really seen too much of, which I believe is Merak Valley, and this map is rumored to be one of the larger maps that will be available in the full game. But as we skip ahead in the trailer, I'm pretty sure we're now back to Iberian Offensive, and as you can see here, the throwing knife returns. It's been in previous Battlefield games, and it looks like it's coming back to Battlefield 6, and it's most likely going to be a one-hit kill. I had a lot of people asking me if the throwing knife was in the beta, and it wasn't available then, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be here in the full game. And then a couple of seconds later, we get to see the sledgehammer again, but this time it's in a little bit of a different light. Yeah, this clip pretty much confirms that you can use the sledgehammer to deal lethal melee blows on top of destroying floors and walls. So yeah, the sledgehammer should be a very fun gadget to use and mess around with in Battlefield 6. And then pretty much right after this clip, they showcase mortars. That's right, mortars are returning, and they showcase them on Operation Firestorm from Battlefield 3, while also showing off support for ultra-wide monitors. And I know some of you guys are probably thinking, oh my god, not the mortars coming back, and they can definitely be annoying to deal with, but they were in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 as well, so it makes sense to bring them back in a game that clearly has a lot of nods and inspiration from those games. But as we keep going on, you might not have to worry about mortars in certain situations. You'll see what I mean. Pretty much right after the mortar clips, we can see that there's going to be like a billion options on PC, and we pretty much knew that from the beta. There were a lot of different options in the settings and in the menus, and the super deep level of customization is great, but hopefully they can find ways to make the menus easier to navigate for all kinds of players, whether you're a casual or someone who's just a big nerd like me. Because trust me, dude, it was pretty difficult to find like the self-kill feed option, which we've had in recent Battlefield games. It was kind of buried away in a menu that I really didn't expect to find it in, so yeah. Having these hundreds and hundreds of customization options is good, but making them easy to navigate is also very important too. And then pretty much right after they showed that, we get confirmation that the AT-4 from the Battlefield 3 campaign and Battlefield 4 multiplayer as a battle pickup or special weapon is going to be available in Battlefield 6. And the reason I'm pointing out that the AT-4 was like a special weapon pickup in Battlefield 4 is because we don't know if this is just going to be a regular launcher like the RPG was in the Battlefield 6 beta, or if DICE could be bringing back special battle pickups. I doubt that that's actually the case, but we'll have to wait and see. Although if I had to place a bet on it, I would probably bet that it's just going to be a typical gadget or a regular launcher. Okay, but as we move on, I thought this was a really interesting thing to mention and a very interesting shot. They're saying that there's going to be a global scale campaign. Now, as we know, Battlefield 6 is going to have a single player campaign as opposed to Battlefield 2042, which went the Black Ops 4 route and they didn't have one. But this trailer now confirms specifically a global scale campaign. Hopefully this means that the campaign will have some really nice locations and set pieces. It would make sense since Vince Zampella is taking the lead on Battlefield 6, and from his experience of making games like Call of Duty 4 and the original Modern Warfare 2 especially, as well as games like Titanfall and Apex Legends, he knows better than anyone that having those epic and iconic locations is a huge part of immersing players in those worlds and environments. But I'm not gonna lie, what does worry me a little bit is that they're saying global scale campaign while also showing people dropping out of basically what looks like the Warzone plane. Now take that with a grain of salt, because obviously we don't know for sure if the Battlefield 6 campaign would be like an open world type thing, or if it's going to be more traditional linear missions. But just like Call of Duty, pretty much the same thing applies to Battlefield. I really do prefer those more structured linear missions that are kind of more scripted. It just makes more sense to have missions like that in games like Call of Duty and Battlefield. So yeah, global scale campaign sounds interesting, and I really do hope that it is linear missions. But as we keep watching, they mention multiplayer, and I don't know why this just had me freaking out when I noticed it in the bottom right, but this confirms that the EOD bot from Battlefield 3 is gonna be here in Battlefield 6, and I just love that goofy little robot, dude. It was so much fun placing down a bunch of C4s and launching the EOD bot across the map and then trying to kill an enemy with its like repair tool kind of functions. For no good reason, I am just so happy that this thing is coming back. I really do hope that it's actually decent and fun to use in Battlefield 6. And for those that don't know, the EOD bot is essentially a gadget that engineers, I believe, have access to to, where you can deploy a little robot that goes around and he can repair your friendly vehicles for you from a safe distance without you having to put yourself directly in harm's way. But on top of that as well, you can also roadkill enemies and you can also kill them with the repair tool function that the bot has. Super fun gadget, and I'm really happy to see that it's coming back. Oh, also in this clip, I'm pretty sure this soldier from the first person point of view is holding a weapon that I don't think we had access to in the beta, but I'm also not totally sure what this gun is, so you guys can let me know in the comments what you think it is. And then pretty much right after that clip, they're starting to talk about Portal again. And from this POV, we get a really good look at what it's like to create a map in Battlefield 6. It says at the top left that this is like a Godot project in the Godot engine. Now, in fairness, I'm not overly familiar with mapping tools, but I do wonder if this map editing tool is something that we'll all have access to on PC, or if this is just for show for the trailer. I'm also not sure how console players would be able to access and use this functionality, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, a couple seconds later, we basically see what looks like Battlefield 6 zombies, or potentially some kind of infected mode. But either way, that's just absolutely insane, and I can't wait to see what this is gonna fully be like. And then pretty much right after that, we're basically looking at a GTA 6 custom game mode. I swear we've basically had stuff like this before in GTA 5. It's essentially a mode where jets have to try to ram and run over players who are perched on a tall but narrow platform, and they're armed with RPGs to shoot the jets down. Both of these modes look extremely fun to play, and I'm really hoping that these awesome custom game modes that are being teased here will be officially released by DICE when the game fully launches. I can't say for sure if they would treat this as like LTMs that get officially released, or if they're just going to be playable once the game launches, but either way, this is some super fun and creative stuff that leverages the Battlefield 6 sandbox, and I cannot wait to see what kind of experiences people create in the Battlefield 6 Portal mode. But then right after that clip, we see this massive crane getting destroyed and it crushes a building, and it does raise the question, could this game end up having Levolution? We can't really say for sure. I mean, in fairness, they have not marketed this game as having Levolution, but this big crane destruction could be teasing larger amounts of tactical destruction for other maps in the full game. We'll just have to wait and see. But then right after that clip, we get to basically see a new sniper coming to Battlefield 6. As I'm sure you guys remember, all we had access to in the beta when it came to sniper rifles was the M2010. But I'm not exactly sure what kind of sniper rifle this is, but it's definitely another bolt action sniper. But then right after that clip, they kind of distract us by showing the ladder gadget again. And I know these shots and clips are going by really fast, which is why I've been slow-moing them, because you might have missed out on this. This right here is most likely some kind of mounted MG or turret with a ballistic shield that is probably just part of the map. Because if this mounted turret is not part of the map, it would probably be way too good if it was a gadget that you could just place down. And then to wrap up the PC trailer, they show us this helicopter minigun. I can't remember if this was part of the beta or not. I didn't really get that much time in the helis, but this was an absolutely sick way to end the PC trailer. And overall, it was a really cool trailer that also had quite a bit of little Easter eggs here and there that you could only really find or notice if you watched this multiple times or if you went frame by frame like I did. And honestly, it's kind of insane that they teased so many things in such a short trailer. But that was just the Battlefield 6 PC trailer. They also dropped this community update for Battlefield Labs testing on their website. Battlefield Labs is returning. As we resume testing the latest updates and content, we're focusing on refining and polishing the game for launch using the amazing feedback received during the open beta. This includes new maps and a first look at the server browser. We look forward to hearing your thoughts as well as the feedback from people who test this content as we continue to build Battlefield together, leading up to the October 10th launch. And there you have it, guys, a first look at the server browser. This next section says Battlefield Labs resumes. The end of the open beta now provides us with the opportunity to return to Battlefield Labs play sessions. This time around, these sessions may occur at more varied intervals as we target finalizing the launch balance and features of Battlefield 6. Battlefield Labs is intended as an experimental environment where the latest changes and work in progress ideas are tested with players in a closed and private space. The content played here will often be in various stages of production, including items in alpha states, which may result in less polished or stable builds during gameplay. This setup allows us to balance and make adjustments much faster as we shape the future of the game with you. And then it says work with the community to shape the future of the game. A little typo right there, but I think we get the gist of what they're saying, and honestly, it's kind of ironic because it's almost like this sentence is in an alpha state right now and it needs to get fixed. But anyway, before we dive into some areas that we'll be focusing on, if you're interested in shaping the future of Battlefield with us, signups for Battlefield Labs have now resumed. I know that I personally have signed up for Battlefield Labs, and hopefully I can get in because I would love to test stuff like this, even if I'm not allowed to talk about it. But yeah, as you can see right here, they shared a screenshot of what looks to be the Portal server browser. And honestly, there's a lot that we can dig into. Now, granted, this might not be exactly what the Portal server browser will be like for the full game, but we can definitely dissect this. So right off the bat, it's really nice that there's going to to be a sort and filter function, as well as the ability to refresh the servers. And you can also click this button right here to host a server yourself. As you can see, for the Siege of Cairo all-day PTFO server, it was created by John Battlefield, which confirms that Jack Frags made this screenshot, and he's already probably working on Battlefield 7. As you can see here, it says XP modified. There's symmetrical modifiers, heavily modified custom logic. The host of the server is XX Good Company XX. That's a pretty good Easter egg. It says custom modes on Siege of Cairo. Make sure to PTFO. But what's interesting is that this looks like a pretty standard conquest server on Cairo, but it does say XP modified. So hopefully a server like this would still reward you with full XP. But yeah, there's some pretty interesting stuff that we can gather by looking at some of the other servers on here. We have Conquest 24/7 jet-only maps, and then they show Iberian Offensive Conquest, which is kind of strange because in the beta, you couldn't fly jets on Iberian. So maybe this is something that's part of, a custom experience. Then right below that, we have Rush 24/7, and it has 64 players, and it's being played on Merak Valley, which does confirm DICE's statement about Rush being able to support larger player counts in Portal. Right below that, we have Breakthrough 24/7 on all maps, and it's played on New Sebek City. Right below that, we have Conquest 24/7, hardcore closed weapons on all maps, which does confirm that there will be hardcore mode in the full game. Right below that, we have Rush plus Conquest. It says infantry focus, so vehicles might be disabled or turned off, and it's being played on a map called Saints Quarter. Below that, we have a server called Hardcore Knives, Defibs, and Hammers Only, and it's being played on Empire State, which sounds like a lot of fun. It would basically be a game mode where everyone's just going melee only, and all of the melees probably just kill you with one hit. And then lastly, right below that, we have a jet race server on Liberation Peak, which is probably something along the lines of this, which has been shown before. Now, granted, it's on a different map, but I think you get the idea. But going back to this community post, it says Portal and server browser. Some of the most frequent questions from the community have been about server browser availability and functionality. In an upcoming Battlefield Labs play session, we will enable an early implementation of this Portal functionality within the community tab. At this stage, our main goal is to observe how it works in practice, with initial feedback focusing on accessibility and UI clarity. As with the custom search functions seen within the recent Battlefield 6 open beta, these features should be treated as work in progress. They are not final, and for now, the scope of the server browser is intentionally limited so that we can focus on stability and core usability. Battlefield Labs is a vital part of our collaboration with the community, helping us shape and validate these systems together. These tests will be limited in functionality and use cases, allowing us to focus on feedback and ensure stability before expanding further if necessary. Players will see only a subset of functionality and community experiences. Portal custom community experience building will not be available in this test. So basically, they're just confirming that you will be able to use the server browser and look at these experiences, but you will not be able to actually build them in this Battlefield Labs playtest. And in this screenshot, they're showcasing the general tags and maps and modes tabs in the Portal search function. And as you can see, yeah, it's a little limited. We can search for Breakthrough, Conquest, Rush, and then Custom, as well as the different maps in the game. Nothing too crazy here. This is just the filters that you can use. They're saying that upcoming Battlefield Labs play sessions will focus primarily on hosting, where we will concentrate on the ease of setting up player-owned servers via predefined shortcodes, altering descriptions, selecting tags, and joining those experiences. We are aiming to validate this flow to ensure the scalability and accessibility of the feature. So for hosting and customizing, players can use the experience library to find a verified Conquest experience using a provided shortcode. Enter the shortcode in the search field to access the mode, then choose to play. See a pre-filtered list of active servers, or host, set up your own server where you'll be able to alter descriptions, rotations, and tags. And then for joining and experiencing, it says players can join via the experience library as described, or open the server browser from the UI to view all currently running servers. From here, you can select servers, join them, and explore tag filters. They're saying we'll also use this opportunity to gather feedback on the tag and filtering systems to identify areas of improvement in live service. And if we look at this screenshot, you can see some of the different tags that they have in here, like enabling friendly fire, heavily asymmetrical maps, I'm assuming, no HUD, hardcore mode, map modification, custom logic, loadout restrictions, limited HUD, class locked weapons, as well as short experience. So ultimately, when you go to create and then host a custom experience, as a creator, you can use these tags, and then people who are searching for experiences can use these tags in the filters to try to find the correct mode that they're looking for. But next up, they mentioned combined arms testing. Before the open beta, Battlefield Labs play sessions have focused on fundamentals of gameplay, such as movement, gunplay, and destruction, alongside ensuring that server stability is efficient for the open beta and beyond. Open beta has highlighted feedback around a need to ensure balancing occurs across different size environments, and we are now entering a phase of Battlefield Labs where this becomes one of our primary focuses as we continue to collaborate and work on future optimizations for the game. Improvements to weapons, large-scale vehicular combat, gadget balancing, and more are set to take place within Battlefield Labs. They're saying that new maps such as Operation Firestorm and Merak Valley are designed for combined arms combat, and vehicles take center stage, featuring a diverse range of vehicles From quad bikes to tanks and aircraft, we aim to validate gameplay balance on these new locations and compare it against previously tested maps. And I'm now starting to think that I might have missed this in the trailer, but I guess quad bikes will also be coming back. We didn't have access to quad bikes in the open beta, but I'm more than happy to see them come back on some of these larger maps. But moving on, they say we'll also be using Battlefield Labs to determine the official setting for hardcore mode, and we look forward to working with players to define it. Until then, here's a sneak peek at Merak Valley. And as you can see here, we have a brand new screenshot of Merak Valley. It says it's Battlefield Labs and that it's work in progress, and this map is definitely looking pretty big. And then they say, what's next? Battlefield Labs will continue to be an essential space for testing new features and balance changes as we continue this journey. Your feedback during these sessions is invaluable and will help guide our final and post-launch adjustments. We'll share more about what's next for Battlefield Labs and our progress in future updates. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this community update on Battlefield Labs testing. It seems like things are going really good so far, and it's awesome news to hear that they're currently testing the server browser functionality in Battlefield Labs before the full launch of the game. But we're not done yet, because there's also this article from the Battlefield Comms Twitter, and it's titled "The Power of PC Meets the Potential of Portal." Battlefield 6 brings the best PC experience in the history of the franchise, offering the widest array of features and customization options ever supported. And as you can see right here, they shared a screenshot of the minimum, recommended, and ultra specs for running Battlefield 6 on PC, including the recommended GPU, the amount of RAM, the CPU, and other specs that you would need in order to run Battlefield 6 on PC. As they established in the PC trailer as well, the game will support 4K graphics and an uncapped frame rate. Obviously, Battlefield 6 is going to be running Javelin anti-cheat to try to stop people from cheating or hacking on the game, and the game will require secure boot on PC. Again, this was established in the trailer, but there will be support for ultra-wide monitors with support for 21:9 ultra-wide, as well as super ultra-wide 32:9 monitor support. Again, a billion customization options on PC, as we all know. However, we didn't get to talk about hardware feature support quite yet. They're saying we support a suite of tech that offers upscaling, frame generation, anti-aliasing, and latency reduction, including Intel XeSS and AMD FSR, and they are confirming that with the launch of the official PC system requirements, NVIDIA confirms that Battlefield 6 will launch with support for DLSS 4 with multi-frame generation, DLSS frame gen, DLSS super resolution, DLAA, and NVIDIA Reflex. Using these technologies, all GeForce RTX gamers can accelerate and enhance their experience, making gameplay smoother and more responsive. Which is really good news for your boy, because we're playing at 4K 144 Hz, and having support for DLSS allows the game to run really smoothly, but also look really good. And I'm pretty sure you guys knew this as well, but you can play the game on Steam day one. You don't have to wait to play the game on Steam. It's just going to have native Steam platform support, and Battlefield 6 will be easier to access than previous Battlefield games because of this, which is a giant W, because I know there's a lot of people who would prefer to just buy and play the game on Steam instead of having to get the EA app. Okay, I'm just now noticing this, but they have a section for Portal that says redraw the lines of battle, and they're sharing this absolutely insane screenshot, which basically looks like, again, either a zombies or infected type of mode, where, as you can see, players have sledgehammers to try to melee and kill these people who are camping up here with the mounted turret, as well as a mortar and RPGs. It looks like so much fun. And they even confirm this by saying the unique experiences created are called community experiences. Players can recreate classic game modes such as Horde mode, or create innovative experiences like a top-down 2D shooter. They also mention powerful creator tools. It includes spatial editing, which includes map and geo editing, as well as AI scripting to customize the behavior of AI combatants. The Portal Builder tool also supports custom UI scripting for building fully bespoke user interfaces. With generous mutator and rule set options, you can use our web creator portal tool to experience Battlefield the way you want. Hardcore mode, closed weapon loadouts, the sky's the limits. Okay, so this part right here sort of answered my question earlier. It looks like there's going to be a web creator portal tool, and I believe they're showcasing it here in this screenshot, which allows you to create the different settings and parameters that you would need in order to make a custom game mode in Portal. And they do talk about XP and progression in this section. They're saying that players can earn full XP progression when playing verified community experiences in Portal. These use existing Battlefield 6 mode templates such as Conquest, Rush, and Breakthrough, while allowing the creator to modify a wide range of mutators to make the experience uniquely theirs. So this does basically confirm that only these three modes will allow you to get full XP progression when you're playing in Portal. I do kind of hope that DICE has a little bit more flexibility in the full game, but obviously we know that there's going to be people trying to create XP farm servers, and that's just going to ruin the progression and also kind of suck the fun away from the game, and that's not what this is about. But yeah, hopefully DICE can find a really good balance of allowing people to create custom experiences while also still fully progressing and getting XP, so that way people don't necessarily feel like their time is being wasted by, having fun. Again, for this section, they're just talking about the filters and stuff, and we already saw this on the main blog post, but then they mentioned post-launch support. Creation and innovation doesn't stop at launch. Post-launch support will include modes, maps, weapons, and other features as they are added to the game, giving creators and players ever-growing ways to expand their Battlefield experience, which is obviously really nice to hear. Oh, yeah, I guess that's the end of the article. Okay. Aside from Battlefield sharing this image of Merak Valley, they did like a before and after of destruction, and as you can see here, we have the crane. The buildings are all kept intact, but in the after photo, basically everything is leveled, even the trees are knocked over, and obviously the crane is destroyed. But aside from that, that's basically all the news and updates we have about Battlefield 6 today. It's some insane stuff, and I don't know about you guys, but it has me even more excited for the full launch of Battlefield 6. So with that being said, thank you guys very much for watching. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did it and you want to see some more Battlefield 6 stuff, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys later. Wait, what the Oh my god!
It's a giraffe!
Good old giraffe glitch.